Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, aliens at Area 51. All around the world there are different homes for different cryptids and mythical beasts, just waiting to be discovered. But today, I'm in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, looking at one very specific and prolific creature. Today, it's time to check the bestiary on the Mothman. Years ago in the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in an old military ammunition site called the TNT area, a strange creature was sighted flying through the night air. A creature with large, insect-like wings, bipedal features like human legs and clawed arms, and bright, piercing, glowing red eyes that shone through the night sky. Mothman's a cryptid that kind of defies the usual formula here on Check the Bestiary because it's not that widely known outside of the local area. It's not used in too many movies or stories or games, even though it did kind of show up in Castlevania. But for the most part, this creature is unknown. It's a mystery. It's sort of the perfect kind of hidden cryptid. The story in Point Pleasant goes that after the initial Mothman sightings, it kept appearing. Some people blame it for animals going missing. Other people blame it for knocking out power in their television sets. But the biggest event connected to the Mothman is the collapse of the Silver Bridge. At the time, many locals who had seen the bridge collapse reported seeing the Mothman land on top of it. This caused a lot of people to blame the creature, assuming that it was the cause of the catastrophe. However, there are some who believe that it wasn't there to cause harm. Instead, it was trying to prevent it. Some people assume that the Mothman was an omen who landed on the bridge to warn people to get off because danger was impending.
My first husband, my son was on that bridge. They said he was on the bridge a few days before it fell, like to warn, like, you know, I'm big and ugly, don't cross here. But we haven't seen him since.
Since that time, Mothman sightings have calmed down quite a lot in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Mothman's faded into more of a mythological kind of local mascot. But this past summer, I actually worked a night shift at a construction job right across the river in Point Pleasant. Many of my coworkers were locals, and they almost all claimed to have their own Mothman sighting stories. So who knows? Maybe it's still out there. Excuse me, can I ask you some questions? Excuse me, I'm sorry, do you know Mothman personally, or are you just, oh wait, no, you're a butterfly, I'm sorry, that was rude, I thought you were a moth. Oh, jeez, I hope he's not mad at me. Oh, jeez. Physical descriptions of the Mothman seem to vary, some people putting it at more moth-like and some people more human-like. But the common features always include large moth-like wings, bright piercing red eyes. Now, being that the Mothman is a Mothman, we can assume that the eyes are actually compound. And given the fact that they glow, they're probably light reflective. Now, eyes that are light reflective might actually help explain why this creature isn't sighted as often as it might be. Because we all know what happens when a moth sees light. And we don't really see Mothman smacking into street poles, do we? Glowing eyes are common in nocturnal creatures who try their best to see through the dark, either to avoid hunters or to track down prey. It could be that Mothman is far more predatory than we think. This could go a long way to explaining the disappearing animals around Mothman sightings. As for ways to defend yourself from Mothman, that's the tricky part because we don't really know. We aren't even sure it's from this planet because during the Mothman sightings there was an increased presence by the Men in Black. Yes, the Mothman very well could have been an extraterrestrial or a creature of extraterrestrials put here to survey our planet or just to test us in some way, shape, or form. And the MIB might have just stepped in to do some creature control. And I think that's the fun of this creature. It's so out there and wild, and it's so well beloved in the community. I mean, they have a diner in Point Pleasant. That's the Mothman Diner. The food is really, really good. The Mothman burger is delicious. I'm gonna have to come back just for this. There's also local love in the museum, and hey, there was a statue. The Mothman's this local treasure that Point Pleasant holds near and dear to its heart. And maybe that's why so many people choose not to think of Mothman as a monster, but instead an omen who warns you of misfortune.
He's been seen other places that there was other tragedies.
Okay.
Well, I don't think he had anything to do with the bridge falling. I think he was like a good omen.
And that's sort of getting into what Mothman represents, isn't it? When it boils down to it, Mothman is mystery. Or as this lady puts it,
Creature of the unknown.
Creature of the unknown indeed. Mothman represents a love of the unknown. Mothman is cryptid pop culture. Mothman represents fun. Pure, unadulterated fun that we human beings get out of speculating, about creating, and about wondering about the world around us that we might not fully understand yet. Fantastical creature that's both a mascot and a monstrosity. And that was a piece of plastic. Not a cryptid, just garbage. Don't litter, Mothman's gonna get you if you do that. So while other places have their Bigfoots, and their melon heads, and their chupacabras, and their Jersey Devils, they all sort of come back to this main idea, which is that it's fun to not know. It's entertaining to speculate, and the world is still a big, wonderful, mysterious place with a lot of incredible things to explore. So that's our show, and that's the Mothman, the creature that flies through the night to give you a fright, a fluffy fiend that you just want to give a nice big hug to. If you ever get the chance, stop by Point Pleasant and check out the Mothman Museum, or hey, go to the festival if you like shows like this. It's sort of this giant gathering for everybody who likes the weird and fun out there in the world. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, always carry a good big can of bug spray, just in case. Bye! So that was Mothman. Who doesn't love a story about a crazy giant moth person, right? Yeah, am I right? Classic bedtime story material. If you want to see footage from the Mothman Festival this year, when it was the 50th anniversary of the Mothman sightings, you can click right over now on the bottom right of the screen. If you'll see more videos about crazy monsters, click on the left side of the screen to see more Check the Bestiary, so you can learn how to survive all the crazy cryptids out there in the world. If you want to see something else about crazy bugs, click on the top right of the screen and it'll send you a video I made on crazy cicadas taking over the town I live in. And now, I'm gonna sing the Mothman song. Mothman, there's no need to feel down, I said Mothman. Pick that man off the ground, come on Mothman. Swing your new friend around, cause it's fun to swing a human.